I'm Kim Jacobs, host of The Kim Jacobs Show, where we're bringing balance to the world, one household at a time. Listen, we go live every weekday, Monday through Friday at 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I bring guests on that talk about their backstories, things that they've had to overcome to become who they are today. Many of them are balancing and juggling life, and they've become experts in different fields. So they're sharing tips with you to make your life just a little bit easier. Many times as a guest in the studio audience, you'll get a chance to walk away with a missing piece of the puzzle that might be missing in your life. Let's go on this journey together, and I look forward to seeing you Monday through Friday at 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on The Kim Jacobs Show.
You're watching Kim Jacobs Show.
Everyone, and welcome to this episode of The Kim Jacobs Show. How are you over there, Miss CJ Poindexter?
I am absolutely great, and thank you so much for having me. I really am excited and have been excited for a few weeks about this conversation.
Well, equally, I've been excited. I looked at your picture. I was like, oh my goodness, we're going to have a great conversation. I was reading some of your information, and I just think that your story is one that is riveting and one that's life-changing and can help quite a few people. So everyone, grab your virtual seats and make sure that you share this broadcast. Don't deprive people of the opportunity to learn about a disorder that can really change your whole outlook on life. But
Absolutely.
this woman here overcame it. So CJ, that's a good thing. Good thing.
Very good.
Yeah. So I want to ask you, in your own words, what do you think people will walk away with today from this episode? We talk about how people balance their lives on this show. What have they had to overcome to become who they are today? And you fit that bill clearly. So what do you want people to walk away with today with knowing?
What I want people most to walk away with is, one, a demystifying of what it means when you're having mental health challenges, and also to dismantle that stigma, particularly it's prevalent in all communities, but particularly for Black women. There is a huge stigma associated with depression or any type of mental health issues, because we've been raised to be strong women who can handle it all. We carry a lot on our backs, and sometimes we neglect the mental health aspect. And nowadays everyone's talking about wellness, but your mental wellness is as important as your physical wellness, and that's what I want people to take away.
That's it in a nutshell. If we can learn how to not only master the physical, the exterior looking cute and what the public is seeing, but being able to master that mental health awareness and mental self-care, as people always use those terms kind of loosely, saying, hey, self-care is important. Self-care is important. Mental self-care is important. If you believe that in the virtual studio audience, put a 1 in the comment section, okay? And just let us know that you're with us on this conversation today. And listen, tag your friends, invite them in, because the rest of this episode is going to be a buckle up your seatbelt. We're going on a roller coaster ride with CJ Poindexter. So you don't want to be out of place. Oh, okay. Let me also, I guess I might as well address it. Everybody's probably like, what's she doing with a whole hat on today? Anybody wanted to know why I have my hat on today? And tell me your thoughts. Yes, no, maybe. Oh, wait a minute. My hair's sticking out of the back of it. Okay. Anybody like the hat? You do?
I like it.
You said you're a hat girl, right?
I'm a hat girl. Yeah.
So if you knew I was wearing a hat, you would have definitely wore a hat, right?
Yeah, I would have tried to hook it up some kind of way.
I had this is not pre-planned, okay? You know how you just get up and you get ready to rock and roll and you're like, okay, I'm coming from somewhere. I had to get my daughter somewhere and I was trying to figure it all out. I said, today is going to be a hat day and it will work just fine.
And it sure is working for you.
Thank you. How many of you in the studio audience are hat girls? Let's see. Anybody? If you're a hat girl, please let me know. I see you saying that mental sexy Scorpio said on one in the comments. And mental self-care, yes. And you said the hat is sharp. Okay.
All right now.
And actually, speaking of which, today is also National Jean Day. I didn't know that. Cassandra, one of my team members. Yeah. So it's a day to kind of just relax and kick back and put on your best or favorite pair of jeans. People of all walks of life, ages wear jeans. Do you wear jeans
Yes, all the time.
all the
That's my
time?
nu- that's my
Okay, so
number one. Yeah, my
how,
number
how often
one
how often
jam.
would you say out of 7 days did you wear jeans?
Well, to be honest, when I'm not in my pajamas because I work from home, it's every day.
Oh my goodness. So you're either in pajamas or jeans, unless you're coming on a show and then you doll up like
Absolutely,
that.
absolutely, absolutely.
Your mama taught you well, right? You're like, then you're gonna
Sure
put on this.
did. Yeah, I could tell you that people who, like, if they come to the house, or when I used to take my kids to school and all of that, when they saw me out and about or in a professional setting, they'd be
Uh-huh.
like, "It's is that you?" I'm like, "Yes, it's me."
And you're like, and then you know what? That's the same with me. I can clean up so well, right? And people are like acting like they're meeting me for the first time. I'm like, I just saw you this morning. I just had on a baseball cap and jeans or sweats or whatever because I was cleaning or something. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's interesting. Somebody said, yes, National Jean Day is I am a jean girl, definitely, and a baseball cap for you, sexy Scorpio. I
All
see
right,
you.
sexy Scorpio.
All right, listen, we're going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, we're going to go ahead and deep dive into our topic of how radical you need to be within.
Yes.
We
Yes.
want to we're going to deep dive into that right after this commercial break. We'll be right back.
When someone has lost a loved one, they want to know what exactly happened. They want to know, is the other person going to be held responsible? And they want closure. At Hunter and Everett, we help clients that have lost a loved one move on, and to do that with dignity and respect that they deserve.
All right, everyone, we are back and we are talking with our guest, CJ Poindexter, today. And she is a speaker, a mental health advocate, small business consulting that serves solopreneurs to Inc. 500 companies. So to those Fortune 500 companies, she's able to serve them. And she's also married with 3 children and 2 dogs. We have to include our dogs, people. Okay, they're part of the family, right? Fun fact, and we'll share one of her fun facts later. But I am so pleased to have with us today CJ Poindexter. Welcome.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here. So far, it's been so much fun.
Oh, thank you. I'm glad you're here today. So, if you would tell people what manic depressive disorder is from your own words.
Well, one, I like to just highlight the fact that depression or MDD can be different from person to person. You know, it's not the same for everyone. For me, however, it's something that I've struggled with since I was a child. So in my case, although there are situations and circumstances that can trigger it, in my case, it is primarily biological. So it's
And
not necessarily associated with trauma or tragedy or stress. It's just the makeup of my brain. And so it's always been with me. And it took me decades to be able to separate myself and who I was as a woman from this thing that has always been with me. It
wow.
There are a lot of symptoms and that we can go through if you like, but it does vary from person to person.
Okay. Well, no, I really would love to hear more of how it personally impacted your life. Because, like you say, if we do the research, it's going to be just a generic answer that's blanketed for a lot of
Right.
different scenarios. But with you being here today and knowing that that was a diagnosis you received, how did this impact your life if you take us back some and when you realized that this is what it was and how it actually started to impact your life?
Well, I didn't realize until after I went through my healing journey, and I'll explain more about what that looks like,
Okay.
how much it actually did impact me over the years.
Mm.
And because there was always a sense of sadness or loneliness with me, which I could not explain or I could not define. And so I was always trying to find the reasons for that.
And what did other people like, especially with you being in a family unit and things, did anybody else notice that you were isolated or alone or anything like that and bring it to your attention? Or was it just something you were dealing with like on an island by yourself?
Oh, it was definitely an island by myself.
Okay.
And it was something that no one really knew because I was able to hide it well.
So were you intentionally trying to hide it and mask it even at a young age, or were you just living your life and it just didn't talk about it?
Yeah, exactly. It was.
Oh, here what we're gonna do is I'm gonna show y'all some how y'all can stay connected with me. We'll be right. Right, everyone. We are back, and today we're talking with CJ Poindexter, and she's talking about how to unleash that radical within. How many of you know that you're dealing with some type of things that are causing some level of depression in your life, and you really don't know exactly how to deal with it? Well, CJ Poindexter today, she's talking to us about some solutions on how to do it and to be able to help us get to the other side if any of us are dealing with depressing situations. And believe it or not, there are a lot of things that cause us to have that sense of loneliness and depression, and I need help that's beyond just what my friends or family or coworkers can provide to me, that then some clinical assistance is needed. So make sure that you all just stay put, and we are definitely going to hear some detailed information from our guest. Hey, also, I wanted to ask you all, with Jean Day, with this being National Jean Day, what kind of jeans do you wear? Do you wear like form-fitting jeans or relaxed boot cut jeans? Are you one of the people that wear the baggy, what are those things, jeggings, yeah, jeggings that look like jeans but they're really not jeans, they're more like stretch pants? What type of jeans do you wear? Because I would love to hear some thoughts on that too. And also, with the holidays coming up, I would love to hear your thoughts on what are you planning to do to just keep some of your sanity during this holiday season. I would love for you to chime in and share some thoughts on that as well, while we're just having our guests work on some things backstage. Okay, I can see you though, CJ, backstage. So once I see everything twisted properly, I will pull you back in screen. Let's see some of the comments that's coming in. Oh, beautiful hat. Dr. Lotus, you missed that whole probably comment about my hat. OMG, I had no choice but to wear a hat today. So I was like, I hope this is okay with everybody. Yes, I see your comment. Another thought-provoking show. Yes, it is. And thank you so much for the comment about the hat. And you all check out Dr. Lotus Richey's show. It is the Lotus Richey Ignites show. And then she has news you can use, books that boom. This woman has like a one-stop shop of all types of shows, and she has a new book release that's helping entrepreneurs know how to gain wealth. So make sure you all check out everything pertaining to Dr. Lotus Richey. Hey, Vanita, you said, hey, I love the look. Okay, scale of 1 to 10, you guys are liking the hat. I won't wear a hat that often, but hello, Dr. Tina Ramsey. And with CTR Media Network, listen, if you're not familiar yet with CTR Media Network and you have not encountered Dr. Tina Ramsey, you have missed out on a tremendous treat. Her and her husband have a platform that reaches 350 million viewers in 46 countries. So you definitely want to go and learn more about CTR Media Network. And somebody said, oh, Sexy Scorpio likes to wear jeans that are fitting and flare sometimes, but I just love perfected jeans and jackets. then you have to come style me some, because I need everything to already be on the rack. I'm that person. It's like, okay, that and that goes together. Versus if it's over there and then it's over there, I'm like, I need a style consultant for this, because I did not know that matched that, that kind of stuff. I'm that person. Okay. So help me out. And then actually I was telling somebody about my glasses, and there's a glare in the glasses, right? Well, I said I need some non-glare reading glasses. 1.75 is the actual number that goes in there, because I love my red glasses, but then they have a glare in them. Who knew? All right. So we're going to take a quick commercial break. And when we come back, I'm thinking CJ will be pulled back in very shortly. Let me tell you all about CTR Media Network now. We'll be right back.
CTR Media Network was created for today's podcasters. We provide a safe haven for content creators that are everyday people doing extraordinary things. We have a system of positioning, monetization training, coaching, and support for our podcasters' success. CTR Media Network simply bridges that gap with a level playing field for your dreams to come true cost effectively. Our team provides a premium service and experience for our podcasters to grow. CTR Media Network provides access, support, resources, coaching, and community for our podcasters to win, if you put in the work. We believe that we are living in a unique time which requires you to share your message of hope with millions of people around the world. Remember that the world is never too saturated for you, your voice and message. A platform for positive, impactful media where the content creators are in the driver's seat. Visit our website today by going to www.ctrmedianetwork.com.
Everybody, we are back, and I am super excited because we're working on some things backstage. So I just want to make sure that you all know that I have some tips that I think they would be pretty helpful to people when this holiday season is happening. Make sure that when your guests arrive, or that they're planning to come to your home. I'm getting my tips too from my book, Extreme Balance Makeover. So this is also a great holiday gift for people. If you want to get a copy of it, you can go to kimjacobsshow.com. And so some of the tips that I share with people, I'll put this up for you all so you can see that right quick. All right, you can go and shop, do some of your holiday shopping, and you can even get electronic copies of this book, ebook, and that's only $3.99. You can get it online on Amazon, and you can also get it right at kimjacobsshow.com if you want me to sign and autograph a copy. But when you have holiday guests, make sure you do a few things. One is ask them if they're having any allergies. If they have allergies to anything, make sure that as you're doing your grocery shopping, you prepare to make sure that those allergies are considered. Don't buy things that your guests will not eat. Like the last time we just had guests here recently, they don't eat pork. So I went and bought turkey bacon and turkey sausage. And in addition to whatever my family may eat, I bought some things that would be considerate of my guests, making sure they have nice, clean towels and washcloths, and that the bedding and everything is ready for them. Even if they need a bar of soap, whatever is needed, make sure that you do that in advance. Also, find out what the activities are going to be and what the plan will be for the holiday season. So that way you can give them a courtesy heads up that this is the kind of the itinerary or the agenda. So you can get a heads up as to whether they want to participate in those things or if you need to make some changes. If they don't want to go bowling or skating, then guess what? There's no need to put that on the agenda. So make sure you consider your guests and some of the things that would be of interest to them. Okay, now I didn't share every tip because I see CJ Poindexter backstage, and I'm going to pull her back in. If you want more of those tips, all you have to do is go to kimjacobsshow.com, get a copy of Extreme Balance Makeover, and you'll have a lot of tips from when I was on NBC at their affiliate station doing balance tips every week as the Balance Doctor, okay? So get that book. That's a compilation of a lot of resources for you. All right, I'm pulling CJ back in right now. Hello, CJ.
Hello. My apologies for the technical difficulties.
That's
My
okay.
camera flipped over, and I'm not quite sure how that happened, but I'm back.
It's okay. So I know on the screen when we take the next commercial break, just wipe the camera or something because it seems like it's like blued out or something, but because you were really clear and bright before. Let's make a couple of points here.
Yeah.
What did you do to gain a handle on how manic depressive disorder was impacting your life?
Well, the first thing that I did, which was after a 20-year struggle,
Mm.
I was first diagnosed when I was in college. And even though I had been struggling with it my life, and the first thing someone ever said to me about it was, don't let anybody know so they don't throw you in an institution.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yes, yes. And so I immediately stopped therapy, and that got into my mind the fact this is something that I have to hide. But as you get older, the symptoms can get worse. And so finally, about 20 years after that, I decided, I buckled down and said, I need help.
Interesting.
And so I went to therapy. I went on medication. I started a treatment program. And that is what was the catalyst, not just for me to start the journey to healing, but it was a catalyst for a transformation in my life.
That is so good. So had you listened to that advice, things would have gotten significantly worse for you, which then may have led to institutionalization, being institutionalized, right?
Right.
That could have been the case. But you took your own advice and said, no, I'm not going to keep this a secret. I'm actually going to go and start getting some help, therapy, treatments, and applying what the therapist shared with you. And it worked.
Exactly. It worked. And the thing is that even in the midst of that, even after I felt healed and so much better, I had a episode, and I actually checked myself into a mental facility.
So a mental facility because this is somebody that you went through this yourself. So
Yes.
you're talking from personal experience, everyone. She's not a medical doctor. She is on here
Exactly.
just sharing her own personal
My
experience.
own story.
Her story, her journey. And so you realized that you needed to go and check yourself in. What was the trigger that made you realize that needed to be, this is it, I got to go get checked in?
Well, I remember having a conversation with my husband about how I was feeling, and it was hard for me to articulate it. And I think for the first time in a long time, I realized how far away I was from myself. And it just did something to me. And I left the house thinking very seriously that this is the last time I'm ever going to see my husband. This is the last time I'm going to cross this threshold. And instead of driving my car into a brick wall, I drove to a mental health facility.
I'm so glad you did, CJ.
I am too.
So glad you did. But let me just this is probably a great time to just share with you. They're so glad you did.
Yes.
Yeah. This is CJ's family. And tell us who these individuals are in this beautiful picture.
Well, the first one is what my son Quentin, who's in the gingham shirt, lovingly calls Big Head Daddy. And the second one is my youngest, my mini me Noel. And the red and checkered is my middle, Quentin, and my oldest, John John.
Aww. Wow. Okay. Wow. Beautiful, beautiful picture. So what we're going to do is when we take this commercial break, and believe it or not, CJ, it's like an interactive thing happening here. So even though I know you're making adjustments and everything, it's actually psychedelic. CNN and all kinds of news broadcasting stations have, you name it, it happens. Okay. So none of this is going to take away from our wonderful knowledge that you're going to be sharing. But when we come back, and I'm going to take a commercial break and you'll get everything together over there, I wanted to find out, how do you think that this impacts women specifically when it comes to this type of just depression in general? And we as women tend to say, okay, I think I got this, I can do this. I actually, opposite of that, I believe in counseling. And so I will get a counselor in a heartbeat. Well, even if I'm doing fine, I'll still get counseling because I just need to get some stuff off my chest and I want to get it off of me. I feel weighted down, then I actually will go and get some counseling. But when we come back, I'd like to hear your theory pertaining to women and depression, whatever angle you want to go. All right. We'll be right back, everyone. We're talking with CJ Poindexter today about unleashing the radical within after her own diagnosis of manic depressive disorder. But we're going to hear about that radical. How
Yes.
radical she got to throughout today's discussion. So we'll be right back, everyone, right after this commercial break.
I have peace of mind with Silver Shield Security, which has been protecting my family and home, along with servicing the Carolinas for over a decade. Silver Shield Security knows the importance of convenience and safety. Whether you live in an apartment, a home, or run a business, they are here to protect you from unwanted intrusions and fires. Call now at 704-440-4688 or visit the website at www.silvershield-security.com. You can use my promo code #ToneX and get 1/2 off your installation price. Don't forget to ask about the new no money down options. Let Silver Shield Security help to give you peace of mind, just like me and my family, and keep your business safe.
All right, everyone, and we're back, and we're talking with CJ Poindexter today and hearing more about how to unleash the radical within. Now, with women pertaining to depression, how do you, what's your theory on that?
Well, women, we're very interesting because, we've been socialized to think of others above ourselves. That's the way we have been raised. That's how we've been. And it is very much in our DNA because we are the life givers. Okay. So there's nothing wrong with that. But what has happened, though, is that there is a perception that a lot of us carry, which is, I have to put everyone else first, right? And the fact of the matter is that that's problematic. And, interesting enough, Kim, I did some research, and this is specifically pertaining to post-traumatic stress disorder.
Okay.
But when symptoms emerge between men and female, women take much, much longer to get treatment. And that was very surprising to me. Now, men do still have that stigma where they don't go, they don't seek help. But some of them don't even go to the doctor on a regular basis, But it just was interesting that when the diagnosis came, or when the stress was revealed, that it took women longer to get help. Sometimes I think it's because of our network. We talk, we're intimate with our friends. We're connection builders, and many times, if we're not careful, that could do a disservice to us based on who's in our ear and what we're listening to. Because we'll share, we're transparent beings. We'll share our problems and our circumstances and our situations. And so that means that people share with us. And sometimes we're more open to criticism, or open to other people's thoughts, and they affect us. It impacts us, influences us more so than men. And many times that's a stigma. That's one of the barriers to treatment, or barriers to healing.
That's a really good analogy and points that you're making, especially using that from post-traumatic stress syndrome, disorder. But I think too that whenever we think about people pouring into us, that impacts our decision making, like you're saying, so significantly. It's like, if that person thinks that about me, then maybe I'm missing something, because we're always taught that we can't see ourselves because we're in the picture frame. So maybe they're seeing us better than we're seeing ourselves, which goes in line with what society says, right?
Exactly. And the thing is that we have to, what I had to remind myself, and this was something that I had to strip away, was the fact that you can't be effective. You can't be effective as a caregiver. You can't be effective as a wife or a spouse or a partner. You can't be effective as a business leader or a executive. You cannot be effective if you are not in congruence with yourself, and if you are not in a place where you are mentally sound, and that doesn't mean that you have to be perfect,
No,
and
we're
that's
always
something.
striving to get better, but
Exactly. So it's been, it's been quite a journey for me to go through those ups and downs, and to
interesting.
recognize exactly what it was that was happening with me, and how much I was influenced
Hmm.
by other people, and how much that hindered me when it came to seeking treatment.
This is just a great conversation is what it is. So let me also let you all know, if you all want to join in on the conversation, feel free to use that link right there and just copy it into the browser, and it'll bring you right into today's conversation. It'll pop you on screen. But now, when you came to the realization of that, but there are so many people watching today that don't know where to begin when it comes to even identifying that there is a problem with some level of too deep of depression. So let's
Mhm.
start there for a second. What kind of signs and symptoms should people be looking for to determine if they do need to get help at a different level? And I'm looking up some things too, but I wanted to hear any thoughts that you have. What should people be
Right.
looking for?
Well, one thing is that if you feel, and I'll put this in layman's terms, because as you said, I'm not a doctor and I'm not a
Right.
practitioner. When you don't feel yourself for an extended period of time,
Okay. That's good.
if it's over, if it, we all have the blues, and that's even though we use the word depression loosely, everybody gets the blues, everybody gets
Yes.
down, everybody gets depressed.
Yes.
But when you enter into that state of depression, you're not yourself.
Mhm.
You might be foggy in your brain, you might be extremely fatigued, you don't want to do anything. The things that you love to do, you're like,
Right.
whatever. You may feel disconnected. Women, sometimes it shows up in body aches. There are many different things, but we know when we're not ourselves. And
Okay.
when we're not operating or functioning as we are accustomed to for an extended period of time. And the
That's
thing
good.
is, don't wait until you are, because at some point, and this is my take on it, at some point that biology of depression, which is the chemical depletion, or
Right.
the out of whack chemical construct of your brain, at some point that takes over, right? And you can miss the window where you can kind of snap back a little
Yes.
faster.
We don't want to miss that window at all.
Don't miss the window. When you first, like you said, Kim, you're like, I'm into counseling, I'll go to counseling. When
In a
you
heartbeat.
first start feeling those things, or when you know something stressful is coming up, don't be afraid to reach out to someone who is objective, not people who have because our family, they have skin in the game. They want to see you healed, not just for you, but for themselves as well.
Right.
That's why it's important to get an objective opinion.
That's good. And I was reading here too, I pulled it up on here, and that manic depressive disorder is very similar to bipolar disorder, is what it was saying based on research here online. But these are some manic depression signs. And what site am I getting this from? Okay, this is forhers.com and then okay, anyway. So mood swings, sadness, elevated mood, anger, anxiety, apathy, apprehension, euphoria, general discontent, guilt, hopelessness, loss of interest. This right here, the whole world. So this is what I'm trying.
Yeah.
Right now, with COVID happening, and with
Absolutely.
people being forced to be in homeschool, with all of these shootings that's happening around in the different schools where our children are.
Crazy.
This describes the whole world.
And
opinion.
that's true. That's true. In fact, the CDC and the World Health Organization have come up with statistics that said since the onset of COVID, there has been a 25% increase in depression alone. And also, and this was something that was striking, also 1 in 4 adults, American adults, have a diagnosable mental health issue. Now, that doesn't mean everybody's, crazy, quote unquote, or everybody, we think of that. That's part of the stigma, where we think of it in these extreme ways, right? But it could be just not being yourself, feeling
That's right.
anxious, always being irritable, not being
Right.
able to get a handle on things. So it's a significant percentage of people who are
Yeah.
struggling.
And this actually came from Mayo Clinic. I looked up and it said for hers, but you can look at that too. But Mayo Clinic is where I just got that information for. And they said from a cognitive perspective, unwanted thoughts. If something's
Yes.
constantly entering your mind and you're constantly having to battle against an unwanted thought, that is another sign. And they also said, according to Mayo Clinic, lack of concentration, racing thoughts, constantly racing,
Yes.
slowness in activity. You can a lot of racing thoughts, but not getting anything done at all, or
Yeah.
false belief of superiority. These are
Yeah.
interesting. I never
Yeah.
read this at this level. So wow.
Well, that I think also, like you said, Kim, really some of those symptoms are significant to people who suffer from bipolarism,
Yes,
which is where it's the high highs and the low lows.
correct.
And if you look at there, even the celebrities that we know who suffer from it, Mariah Carey, Kanye West, and some of his issues have been very evident. There are a lot of people who also struggle with bipolarism. That's not something that I struggle with, but it's significant.
Right.
It's significant. Mm-hmm.
Well, everything that I keep pulling up pertaining to manic depressive disorder,
Mm-hmm.
it automatically takes you to bipolar disorder. So it says, what is a manic depression? And a manic, this is from verywellmind.com. And I'll put these links in there for you all. Manic depression is an older term for what is now referred to as bipolar disorder.
Right. Okay. Let me make something clear. What I have is called major depressive disorder.
Oh,
So
okay.
major
Okay.
depressive
Major.
disorder,
Let's go.
is different from manic depressive
That's
disorder.
what it is. Okay, because I was going to say
Yes.
before when I was reading this is not what was coming up. Now, okay. So manic is different than major. So major
Right.
depressive disorder, and that is depression is a mood disorder that causes a persistent feeling of sadness and
Mhm.
loss of interest. Also called major depressive disorder or clinical diagnosis. It affects how you feel, think,
Yes.
and behave, and can lead to a variety of emotional and physical problems. So, did you experience some physical problems as a result of your major depressive disorder?
Yes, I had body aches, a lot of body aches. And another
Okay.
thing which was interesting, and I don't know how the science bears this out, but a psychologist once told me this. I used to get bronchitis all of the time.
Oh,
And
wow.
one of the things that was revealed was that with depression, and I think they're still studying this theory, but depression also is associated with inflammation, and bronchitis is the inflammation of your bronchial tubes and all of that. And so they're just getting a lot. I used to get a lot of sinus infections and body aches and bronchitis, and when I first went to treatment, the psychologist that I was working with said, well, considered depression is considered, they're making a connection between depression and inflammation in your body.
Interesting. Wow. So a lot of physical So when you discovered all of this, you've been living with this disorder, major depressive disorder. You gain control of it by recognizing when you start seeing some of the signs and symptoms that you could personally go and get some help immediately.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to determine how did you ultimately rebuild your own life, because you've come now to this place where you're radical. You're a radically
Yep.
different person than you were back then. How
I
did you go
absolutely
about rebuilding your life?
Well, it was a decision, and it was a decision that I had to make on a mental basis first and to decide that I can't live like this anymore. And I'm not talking necessarily about the depression, but the aftermath, the how I thought about myself, the lens that I looked through when it came to my own life and my own accomplishments, that I just was not satisfied. I wasn't happy. And so I was like, this has to change because I can't go on like this. So I decided, that's it. I'm going to take control of my life. The first thing I did was start saying no, that I'm not doing anything that I do not want to do. Meaning, I'm not talking about my family.
That right there is almost like a praise right there. Dun, 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 dun,
Yep,
dun, dun,
yep.
dun. Because
Exactly.
what did that look like for you when you just, the first thing you started saying no? How did that go when you started telling people no for the first time when you've been a yes person all of your life?
Well, I was blessed to have around me at the time people who understood, but it was still like shocking for people. And for others, I had to cut them out of my life altogether, because that's what it is to be radical. That's what it means to be radical. That means that you start making the decisions that are going to fundamentally change the nature of your life. And that's where the rubber meets the road. And that's what I had to do, because I had been suffering for so long that even in between the depressive episodes, I was not living. And when you're not living, and when you're living for others and only others,
okay,
exactly. And then what happened, you are depriving even the people who are closest to you the real experience of you. And so, and to do, we all, when I talk to particularly small business owners or people who own their own companies, one of the things that we have to kind of dismantle is the idea of being everything for everybody, right? And the fact that if you want to go to the next level, you can't do the things that you're doing now. That's just logic.
That's it.
If you want to go somewhere different, you have to do something
different. Because insanity, we already know the definition is doing the same thing over and over and over again, but you expect a different result. The result is going to be the exact same because it's this exact same pattern of what's been done forever. And so changing it. So for you, changing that pattern and saying a hard stop, no, I'm not doing that. Did you provide, I have some of those tips in my book too, Extreme Balance Makeover, how to say no. And I'm the person that would say no, but give an alternative, because I really don't like saying no. So I'll say, well, Tuesday doesn't work, but Wednesday will. How does that look for you? So I give an alternative. But what I hear you saying is you were just saying no.
Well, let me explain. So I was heavily involved in my church. I was a church leader. I was involved in the foundation of establishing a new church in the Washington, D.C. area. I had been in ministry for a long, long time. And I was like, that's not my calling.
Right.
That's not my calling. And so I am going to extract myself from that. And that was very radical. And again, I had wonderful people around me who understood, but it still left a void in some aspects. But they were able to listen. Life goes on without you. They went on, right? They went on and got even something better because they got the right people
that were available, mentally and physically able to be there for that situation.
Exactly. And when the saying no means that you begin to say no to the things that don't add to your mission, or don't add to what you feel like your calling is, or don't add to what it is that you want to accomplish in your life. You have to say no to, because everybody only has 24 hours in a day. And if you're running around to all the PTA meetings, if you're on hospitality, singing in the choir, if you're the one that always stays late at work, when are you going to live your life and go to where it is that you desire?
Hence,
And that's what the radicalism is.
And that's why we're bringing balance to this world today, one household at a time, with CJ Poindexter, because our desire is to make sure that you know it's okay to say no. It's okay to say this is not serving my purpose in life and what God has called me to do, and move on, giving room for somebody else that really is called for that specific mission.
Right.
For that specific assignment. Is nothing wrong with stepping away. I've done that. I've stepped away from quite a few things. And in stepping away, I've offered another person in my place that I thought would pick the ball up and do a fantastic job, only after speaking with the person to make sure that that's what would fall in alignment with their lives. So,
yeah, exactly.
Good stuff.
There's always a way. There's always a road to whatever freedom it is that you're looking for.
Yeah.
There's always a way.
I love it. Now, people in the studio audience are chiming in, and I see you saying, this is amazing. This is amazing. Sounds so familiar. So familiar. And Jennifer Coleman said, hey, Jennifer. She said, it's okay to say no. Yes, it is.
Absolutely.
Okay. It is okay. There's nothing
And
wrong at all with saying no.
And it's a necessity.
That's right.
You have to realize that it's a necessity to be able to boundaries back around our own lives.
Kimberly Oliver says, hey, this is very informative and very helpful information. Thank you so much for sharing your truth over there. Thank you. Everybody's saying yes, yes, yes. Thena, our sunshine expert here on the Kim Jacobs Show, she says, I pray for people that are suffering with mental health issues. Get the help they need and have access to the resources that help them out. And actually, let me give you, it was a number, I think I put it, yeah. Okay, I found a number, a hotline, 1-800-662-HELP, which is 4357. Give a call, ask your questions. Even if you need to be anonymous, get the help that you need. During this holiday season, I don't know if, because I didn't do research on that yet, but I'm sure that depression increases significantly.
It does.
During the holiday season. I'll find that out before.
No, that's something that has been proven already, that depression does increase around the holidays.
I wonder, because this is the time that, and I'm not a person that's just down and out at all, but I know that certain seasons trigger certain things for me regarding my son passing away, my dad passing away. I've had so many people recently over the last year that are people that have transitioned from this earth. I've never had so many people transition from this earth in such a short period of time. And these are people, some in their 50s, 40s. It's just been a lot of people. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is just a lot for anybody. One of my friends has 5 children. So I'm like, my nerves were torn. It's like unbelievable. Now I know we're all going to transition from this earth one day, but to have all of this happen in this period of time, and it definitely triggers some level of depression.
Yeah. And for sure, my mom passed January last year, and I was her caretaker for 4 years. And one of the things that was the trigger for me to really start getting help was when I was pregnant with my youngest, Noelle. It was a identical twin pregnancy, high risk. And right before we were to deliver both of them, I lost one of the twins. And it was very traumatic, just even the situation and circumstances surrounding the loss. And one of the things that loss does, one of the, if you want to say, benefits of it, is if you pay careful attention, that those areas in your life which are not working out for you, they can be illuminated. Like I was on the way into emergency surgery when it hit me, life is short. This little thing was only here for an instant. Life is short. And the next thing that came to my mind was, and you've been living yours as somebody else.
Oh, wow.
And that's when that was on my way into surgery.
With
And
the
that
with your twin transitioning from this earth, because once the twin was developed in your body, your twin was a human being.
that was my
baby.
baby. And because of my situation, I saw them every day on the monitors, so they had personality, so it was very much, it was very devastating, very, very devastating. But it was the catalyst to me being like, what am I doing here?
Yeah.
My life transformed from that moment. So I'd do anything to have that baby with me.
Of course.
But I acknowledge the fact that it was that thing that started my journey to where I am an absolutely, completely whole person. And I still have MDD. I still have it.
But you manage it.
But I'm healed. I might not be cured. And that's something that
gosh, girl, you preaching. You say you might not be cured, but you're healed.
Exactly.
You know that to preach. You know that.
I know it does. I know it does. And that was really a word that was dropped into my spirit. You've been seeking a cure and missing out on being healed.
So break that down for just give 1 minute breakdown of what you mean by that, because I want the audience to walk away from, you may not be cured, but you're healed. Break that down just a little bit more.
What that means is that whatever the thorn in your side is, whatever it is that you are suffering from or is causing some sort of dis-ease, that even if it does not go away, you can still be a whole, functioning, healthy person that accomplishes everything that they are supposed to accomplish, that you're still able to fill the space that was designated for you. Right. And so I still get depressed. I still see a therapist. I do all those things still, but I am a transformed woman, because that depression has not defined who I am and the power that's been given to me to take authority over my own life. It's a disorder. It's an ailment. It's not I'm not deficient. I'm not broken. And when we seek to change, for so long, I wanted to be a different woman. I was ashamed that I suffered from it. And then on top of that, I have ADHD. So that's quite a combination. I was ashamed of it. I would beg my husband, oh, please forgive me. I can't, because I wasn't functioning, and I function differently from people. I don't care about any of that. I'm fine the way I am.
You are fine the way you are, and you are a blessing to all of us that are watching and hearing your story. And God knew exactly who to utilize as a spokesperson to help other people get to the other side. And it's you, CJ Poindexter. When we come back, I know you have some dreams and goals and things that you put on the back burner. I want you to talk to us about some of those and how you've started making them become a reality. We'll be right back, everybody, right after this break.
Nothing says I love you more than final expense insurance whole life protection. With funeral advocacy nationwide, saving you and your family 30 to 80% off funerals and cremations. Nothing says I love you more than Get Insured Solutions, LLC. GetInsured.Solutions. 704-499-3616.
All right, everybody, we're talking with CJ Poindexter, and I can see everything cleared up over there. See how the light illuminated on you? It's like you are bright and risen now in this regard. God is showing his glory through you. Okay, tell us about some of the back burner dreams and how you were featured, I think, in a documentary or something. Or
yeah.
Okay, so
and it was The documentary was called Back Burner Dreams. Yes, a very good friend of mine, just when I was starting to really explore who I was and taking those things off the back burner that I had always wanted to do, she was starting her film project. So it kind of coincided. And it was all about how women, in this case, women of color, how we put so much on the back burner just to survive and just to make sure that our children are raised and that our families are healthy and that we put food on the table. And it just kind of documented the process of finally saying it's okay for me to seek after other things and to put myself first in that manner. Because again, if you're not doing and being according to who you're created to be, then even your relationships are not as authentic as you think they are.
That's
And
right.
so that's what the film was about. And for me, what that was is that I was a singer when I was growing up. And so I started singing again. And my husband's a musician. So we formed a group, and we're writing music. And COVID kind of slowed us down, but I picked it up again. And it is a part of who I am again. And that was what the important thing was.
Woo! All right. So, what are some things that you have coming up that people can stay connected with you and follow you and learn and glean from you? You'll have that one-on-one time with her versus just in this setting as well. So that would be good for people to know. How can people stay connected with you?
Well, you can reach me at Instagram at The Radical Within. I'm on Facebook and it's CJ Poindexter. And also my website is cjpoindexter.com. And you can email me at cj@cjpoindexter.com. cj@cjpoindexter.com. And I do have a free masterclass that's coming up that I've taught before. And it really is all about unleashing the power to create a successful and abundant life. And that's regardless of what you've been through, that we all have an authority and the power and the right to create the life that we desire.
That's right.
And how do you regain your confidence? Because that plays a lot into how far we go is dependent on how we see ourselves in the process. And so, yeah, don't let your past steal your future. So it's on December 12th. You can email me again at cj@cjpoindexter.com. Go to my website and you will be able to register.
That's so wonderful. You do not want to miss this free. Did you all hear me? You all just got a snippet of what this woman is sharing here on today's episode, but she's going to be talking about unleashing the power to create a successful and an abundant life. Don't let your past, whatever your past is, steal your future. That's December 12th, 2022 at 7 p.m. And you can go to @TheRadicalWithin to learn more, or cjpoindexter.com for the free masterclass. And you're in for a tremendous treat when you join that class, okay? She's going to be pouring her soul out. Yeah.
Thank you. And I do. So it's not just theory. This is really about lived experience and the fact that I'm a model for no matter what you've gone through, that you can have the life that you want.
Yes.
As imperfect as it may be, it could still be good.
I love it. And because I've shared, I've had so many different hurdles to overcome in my life and circumstances to deal with, like with some of the things that you're sharing between death and even life, with all kinds of other things associated with it and everything in between. I know that God has ultimate plan for our lives, and those plans are good. And
Yes.
if you want to know what those plans are for your life, make sure that you go and be a part of this free masterclass to learn more from CJ Poindexter. So is there something, I know during this time we've had some technical stuff, so I'm going to go for like 2 or 3 more minutes here. Anything that you wanted to share that maybe you didn't share earlier in the broadcast?
Well, one of the things that I really like to leave with people is the concept of what it is to be a radical. right? And a radical is not, to be radical is not just to be extreme. It doesn't mean that you're just off the beaten path. To be radical really means to change, to relating or affecting the fundamental nature of something. So being radical is that you make the choices and the decisions necessary to affect the fundamental nature of your life. And when you're a radical, those changes and those decisions that you make are far reaching and they're thorough. So many times we're broad but not deep. Those changes are thorough, and that's when transformation comes. And after you've been transformed, you can't go back. You can't go back. We can change, and that's okay. But when you have been transformed in how you see yourself and who you believe yourself to be, you don't go back. You don't go back to it. So that's what I love leaving people. That's why everyone has a radical within them, because I think we're created to be that.
I do too.
And I just, that's very important to me. Make the decisions that you have to make to get to where you want to go.
Wow. You all, I hope you all are as inspired as I am on today's episode. CJ Poindexter talked about unleashing the radical within. And one thing I wanted to also ask you is how, from all of the things that you had experienced, the things that were lessons that you learned, even in the major depressive disorder state, then you became super radical, took ownership of everything, started becoming a business owner. How did you apply some of those previous life lessons to your business? I would love for people to hear that right quick.
Oh, well, that's a great question, because what happens when you start something new, many of those things that you're like, oh, I'm over this, I've overcome this. When you start something new, when you go to the next level, it puts stress on you and you begin to see those things creep out again, being not having as much confidence, being like, well, who me is? Are they going to listen to me? Are they going to do this, going to do that? Right. And so I had to take a step back. I had to say, okay, this is who I am. This is what I'm going to do. And just like I approach my mental health, I approach my business. I have mentors. Okay. I get as educated as I can. And I just always remind myself that whatever the issue is, there is a solution. There's a way for me to move forward to get to where I want to go. And that's that. And also a lot of grace. You have to give a lot of grace to yourself. To
yourself, you're saying?
Okay. Yes, to yourself.
Make sure you all, these points, you can type them in the comment section. If you know you're going to go back and watch the replay and like, how do I make sure I get these? Take your notes right there on your phones or your devices and capture these notes. Be kind to yourself, making sure that you learn to say no when appropriate. Don't say no to everything, because there are some opportunities that God wants to bless you with too. But making sure you say no when appropriate, and definitely taking advantage of the masterclass that has been shared. If you all are interested also in investing in being a part of the Kim Jacobs Show, it's been scrolling below, and there are all different ways that you can become a partner with our program. We stream our program Monday through Friday at 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So please pour into the broadcast. And just like other platforms, I think it's like PBS and TBN and different things, they come from community support. And so you are our community supporters, and we appreciate your support and your contribution. And I want to make sure, if you also anywhere in the United States or Canada, if you want to know more about eWomen Network, I am the managing director in the Charlotte area, so please be sure to check it out. And if you do decide to become a part as a business entrepreneur, just let them know that Kim Jacobs sponsored you to come on board, and I'll love to connect you to your local managing director. All right, this has been fantastic. I cannot ask for more. I'm grateful that we worked through the technical stuff and kicked that theory in the head so you could be here, CJ Poindexter. All right. Any comments? Let's see. Comments did flood in, and I think I saw one from, yes, real quick. I know we went a little bit longer, but that's because we were having the technical stuff, and I'm not about to miss her point. Jennifer said, give yourself grace. I saw lots of others. New levels, new attacks.
Yes.
Every issue has a solution. Thank you for typing those points, Jennifer. Sexy Scorpio said, fantastic, phenomenal, amazing live show. Thank you both. And make sure you all subscribe. And I saw Mother Harper, Mother Harper is in her 80s and she is using social media. A heart transplant recipient. She said, great show again. And you put an emoji, Mother Harper. You ain't playing. All right. Listen, I see all of your comments. Thank you all. I hope I didn't overlook anyone. Know that it's not my intention to do so. If we were not operating in our authentic identity, we are not having our authentic relationship. I saw my mom on here too. And I'm glad that you're able to tune in, Mommy. Oh, hey, my aunt Geraldine Perkins. Hey, Aunt Geraldine. Good morning to you. I'm so glad you're here today. And I love you. I love you. Love you. All right, everybody. Oh, Sunshine Expert said, hey, thank you for being transparent with your story and sharing with others. Thank you all for tuning in today to today's episode. Closing comment is yours.
Thank you so much for having me. And we'll have to do this again without all the technical difficulties, but it's been very wonderful. And I appreciate your patience. And it's been great. Thank you so much, Kim.
All right, everybody. Stay connected. One more time. CJ Poindexter. Tell them how.
CJ@cjpoindexter.com. You can email me. I'm at The Radical Within on Instagram. And my website is cjpoindexter.com.
All right. So there's no excuse, guys. Go and join right now for this free masterclass. Let her know that the Kim Jacobs Show sent you her way if you get a chance to say that. Free masterclass. Register now. December 12th, 2022 is happening. And I want to make sure that you're in your virtual seats for it. All right, everybody. That's today's episode. Stay backstage, CJ, if you will. Have a great one. And I'll see you all without my hat on the next episode of the Kim Jacobs Show. Have a great one, everybody. Hello, everyone. I'm Kim Jacobs, host of the Kim Jacobs Show, where we're bringing balance to the world, one household at a time. Listen, we go live every weekday, Monday through Friday at 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I bring guests on that talk about their backstories, things that they've had to overcome to become who they are today. Many of them are balancing and juggling life, and they've become experts in different fields. So they're sharing tips with you to make your life just a little bit easier. Many times as a guest in the studio audience, you'll get a chance to walk away with a missing piece of the puzzle that might be missing in your life. Let's go on this journey together, and I look forward to seeing you Monday through Friday at 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on the Kim Jacobs